This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Today we have a Miele dishwasher. This is the incognito model, and the door spring is having trouble, so the door is not held very well anymore. You can tell by, if you let it go, it'll just free fall. There's no resistance. And when the spring had trouble, you could hear it pop. So probably the cable broke, and the spring made a twang type sound. If you ever want to adjust, if your springs are working and you just want to adjust the amount of tension that the door has, there's actually a little screw right here in the upper left hand corner, and I believe it's a Torx 20 screw, and by turning it right or left you can control how much tension is there. So today what we're going to do is remove this dishwasher from the cabinet and replace any of the parts that may have broken. So this one's being held in by, I can see a screw right here and a screw right here. We'll pull those out. We'll pull the dishwasher out. Miele usually gives you enough drain hose and fill line where you don't have to disconnect them under the dishwasher, but we'll check that. Usually you can just disconnect here and here, or sometimes on the side, and you can get the dishwasher out to work on it. The parts that we'll need have already been ordered, and they involve these cables. It's very rare that the springs themselves break, but the cables sometimes fray over time. So we have a cable here. There's two of them for the incognito model, and there's also this part. We'll see if it's needed, but this is the screw that you're turning, and this either takes tension on or off of these cables, which are also attached to the springs. So we're going to go at it and see which one of these parts will be needed. Probably not all three, but at least one of them. So it's good to unplug it, and then we're going to take out a few screws here that are holding it in. And it could be that you have screws here and here, or it could be at the top. So in this case we're going to be going one at the top. Okay, that one just came out. Alright, we're going to see if we can kind of wiggle it out now. Alright, looks good. So we're also going to remove the bottom panel. The trim piece come out. And then we're going to lift a little bit to get the feet over, over this rim. I want to get this plate off. A couple of Phillips head screws to take out. A couple at the top. And then one here, I think, at the back. And this is also where you can find the model number. This one is a G858SC, as in cat, V as in victory, I plus. Get the screw out. There we go. Okay, that plate's out. So here's the big spring. Takes most of the load. And here is the wire that was connected. We'll go and replace this today though too. But you can see this little guy goes in there, goes over that pulley, and then you've got a nice spring here, pretty big spring. So it's pretty rare, I think, that these springs break, but these cables can snap. Got that one. And then that goes over a cam right here, and then goes over to there. So you can see that's a sharp edge that would eventually cut that cable. I think this cam is probably supposed to be up a little bit higher. Doesn't make much sense for it to be there, but we'll go ahead and replace a couple of these components. So this is on the incognito model. This is the right side, the right panel off, and this is where the water comes in to the dishwasher right here. And the water comes in from the fill tube through this line, and it goes past a little wheel that spins. This is called the flow meter. And a lot of times with the Miele dishwasher, when it's having trouble, this is a common part that may be having difficulty, and if you can just replace this, or if you can get it moving, it'll often fix many of the problems. Just took the modular connector off, and then I'm going to push this way, kind of wiggle, get this out, and there's a little diode in there that's sensing a magnet on a wheel. You guys can see that thing turning, that wheel. But if that's not turning really easily, that could be a problem. See, there's like little paddles, and those paddles are going to get pushed by the water pressure, and that's going to tell the computer how much water has come in. So they call it a flow sensor. And sometimes, this one's doing great, but sometimes that does not move very well. And if you can free it up and get it moving more readily, it's good. I believe it's magnetic, so that's why it's kind of moving as I move the screwdriver that has a magnetic tip. And this senses that magnet moving. I think the problem usually is this little diode. So you get this new part from Miele USA and just slip it in there, probably cure your problem where you're getting some of these codes and your dishwasher just is acting strange because it's not able to sense how much water is coming in. It's a pretty powerful magnet at the end of this flashlight, and I don't know if you can see this on video, but I'm moving that wheel around because it's got a magnet on it, and it's moving very easily. So that's a good sign. So I would check that, use a magnet, and make sure this little wheel here, like the paddle, can move really easily. And if that moves easily and there's still a flow sensor problem, then these are pretty cheap. You just replace this thing, and it's going to fit in like that. We're just going to push it in. It'll click into place. We'll go and put the power connector back in. If you notice when this goes back in, this green thing, the open area is facing you and the little tab is away from you. You got to push that back in, click it in. There we go. So that is a very common problem with the Miele dishwasher, that wheel gets stuck or that little diode gets burned out. Easy to fix. We're going to fix this one right now. I want to come up to the top and take this plate and get this out of here so we can see better. And because this cable broke, we're going to be replacing that middle piece. But I'm also going to replace some of the other cables while I'm at it. And I'm going to take off this panel too. To get off the left panel, we're going to take out this Phillips head screw here. That one out. And then we got a couple on the top. Remember that if you want to adjust the tension once the springs are all and cables are all working, you're going to do it right here with this screw. And this can be done when it's inside the cabinet. You just open the door, there's a little access point, and it can turn to adjust how much tension you want. Okay, we got one in the very back down here. Okay, now that panel will come off. I'll wiggle that off the bottom. And we can see on this side that the arrangement is intact. We have a cable connected right here. It goes around this pulley, comes up here to the spring, rides over this nice plastic cam so that essentially it's going to avoid contact with this metal, which we didn't have on the other side. It goes through here. So we're going to be replacing this component. And I need to take some tension off of this spring. Get this cable off. There we go. So I just kind of pulled that off. I'm also going to be replacing this one while I'm at it, just to make sure everything's intact. So the only thing I'm not replacing is the spring. Now I'm going to be going for this piece here. So to get this piece out, I think I push in on this one and then push this back away, I think. Maybe this has to come off first though too. Yeah, so I pried something underneath here, lifted this so we can get that out. And then maybe we can slide this out now. I think it's being held by a little detent right there. Okay, get some backward pressure. Alright, so there's the old one comes out. New one goes in. See there's a little hole there for that to go in. Click that in. This one goes down on top. Clicks in. So that's pretty easy. This goes over this cam. I'm going to move this cam though to get it really situated stronger. So we can give that cable some good clearance. Definitely has shifted. It's not supposed to be that low. Kind of see that it came out of position. So the real problem here is that this cam that's supposed to be up about this high had broken tabs and had drifted down, and the cable was running over and over the sharp edge. So I can't really utilize this piece anymore because it's broke. The plastic just got tired and broke here. So what I'm going to do is get this cam up where this ridge is a little bit higher than the metal, and I'm going to put a little set screw in there to hold it. So this one's got the same problem where the plastic broke, it's kind of loose, but the height's good. So I'm going to put a hole here that goes through the metal and then put a set screw to hold it. Okay, that's good. That's going to make this flow over here really well and not hit that metal. Here we are on the left side, and to get this off, pull that out, put in the new one, go through that little channel, push it down in there. Alright, go underneath the wheel, come up, hook one side up to the spring, come up, take off the old one. Here's the new piece. So I'm going to use that same technique to help have my knee kind of help me. Leverage point. So I'm going to put my forearm against my knee, grab the spring, and lift. Connect those two. That's pretty good. So that's going over that plastic cam now. Goes down. We have good spring tension, and then to get the final tensioning, there is a screw there that we can turn once we reinstall it. Got a nice good tension there. Everything's in place. Put this panel back on. This is just mainly soundproofing. You can kind of see how you're lining that up. Okay, we'll put these panels back on. Get this flap to lift up. And oh, by the way, I want to show you guys on the Incognito model, this is the heater right here. And this is what's heating up the water. Comes up. And it has a reset button right here. You can see it, little red button. You can press that one. These are in case these get too hot. These pop out. And then to reset them, you don't have to buy a new heater. You can just take off this panel on the left-hand side, press it on that red button or that red button. Those are thermal cutoffs if it gets too hot. And you can see the ends of the element here. So this heats the water up as it goes through. It's pretty cool. That's where the power comes, or that's where the power is coming in. On this side, there's the ground. There's the power coming in on the other side right here. And those are just protecting so if it gets too hot. So if you end up with no heat on the Incognito model, maybe you just need to go in and press these little resets. Okay, let's get this panel back on. So I believe we put the bottom part on first. And we kind of lift up for it to catch. Take a look at this. So if you look at this panel, there's a lip right here. It's going to go over this part. So that's got to be the first step. Let's come in at a diagonal, connect that lip. Now, I'm going to close this up. I'll open up the door. Get that up higher than this panel, lift a little bit. There we go. Those screws look good. And we have a screw here we got to put in too. Let's go ahead and start these two. So this is the left side of the dishwasher when you're facing it from the front. Okay. Alright, and then you got a screw here in the front too. So you gotta open the door. Oh yeah, we got really good spring resistance now. That's great. Got a little screw right here we gotta put in. Push in on that panel. I'll be replacing this cable that goes onto the door hinge. Just pull it out of this channel, put the new one in, and this isn't the one that broke, but we might as well replace it while we're here. Okay, now get that locked in. We're going to go underneath the wheel, come up this way, and we're going to hook up this spring. Let me get off the old one. So we're going to put that through there, get that over the wheel, and then we'll go ahead and take this one out. get this one over the cam right here. And we're going to lift up the spring and connect these two. I'm going to use my knee to help me get some leverage. So I got that connected now. Kind of see how it works. So good spring tension goes over the plastic cam, but before the plastic cam had broken, now we have a metal screw holding it, and it was rubbing on the metal here, and that's what cut it. Spring tension goes over and then goes over under the hinge. I'm going to put this back in position. We're going to do the other side. These are the old parts here. Here comes the left side, so I'm going to get this to go over this lip. Initially, so I'm coming in kind of at a diagonal. And then I've got this white part behind the silver part. Go forward. And this should kind of get trapped underneath the sound insulation. There we go. We're going to put those screws in. Spring in the back, I'm sorry, the screw in the back one here too, to hold on that plate. Got it. One in. Alright, got it. So this drain hose, due to the plastic being kind of old, broke. So we're going to see what we can do to get this boot back on. We may end up doing some improvising with similar material. I made a new boot for the drain because the other one had broken down here. So we just used some similar size pipe. I'm just going to put this back in. Turn it off for now. Just going to kind of push and wiggle. There we go. This is the one that broke, and this is Miele part number 4898260. And they call it a spring mechanism in English, and mécanisme réseau in French. And then we also replaced these cables, and these were actually in pretty good shape, but good to replace them while I was there. And these are just called in English cable, and it's part number 4056561. So you don't want a Miele drain hose to come directly into the disposer like this. It's far better if you can have the hose go in a high arc first, up like this, higher than the disposer. It'd be much better. I'm going to use a zip tie to get it held up there, but then if the sink floods, that water will not flow backwards and flood your Miele. I'm going to try to get it around this thing. So now the drain hose goes up in a high arc, higher than the disposer. So if this floods, water comes into here. If it can't escape here, it'll go out here. It'll go in here and come up to here and stop. But before, it could just flow down backwards and then flood the dishwasher. So that fixes that.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.